Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate all your support. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. You know the drill. Hope you're having a fantastic day. So we're going to talk a little bit about game one down with the Indiana Fever, and it was an interesting one. I got to say, it was a tale of two halves. It was a tale of two halves. I want to go through just a couple of thoughts that I had early on. I was like, this team looks in disarray, at least offensively. I would say overall, defensively, they looked really good. They have some breakdowns of who was covering who on rotations at times, and they left some open threes, but overall, even early, the defense kind of held it together because the offense looked like a bunch of players who hadn't really played a lot together and might not be all that comfortable. Looked in absolute disarray. Thank goodness for Clark and Mitchell early. Lexi Hull was absolutely amazing today. I think she changed the tone of the game a lot when she came in. Now, one thing they got to clean up, and I made a notice that, this looks a lot like last year. I'm having flashbacks because there were throughout the game, maybe more in the first half, but throughout the game, there were a ton of missed layups. Boston, oh my, and again, to be clear, because I will get to it, Boston overall played really well because people will scream at me. But man, again, do you know what her numbers would look like? What her game would look like if she cut down on the missed bunnies, on the missed layups, on the missed shots inside 5 feet? But it was the whole team. It was like there was a lid on the basket inside of 5 feet. Early on, I didn't like that Howard was the shot leader. I think she has a tendency at times when you kind of get a clear out and you give her that sort of dump it into the paint, but she's not really in the paint. You know the type of play I'm talking about, and she has a tendency to she's going to go one on one if she's got that space, no matter what. But again, overall, I think there was a lot of good stuff. Some things that were concerning. Cardoso, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Camilla was the one that won the tip, and then she ends up beating everyone down the court. There was a play later where Reese beat everyone down the court. I think it was end of the first quarter. Um, and Clark almost got a foul for that. And she did get two early to pick up two fouls in the first quarter. Um, I noted that I would have liked to see a little more full court pressure. Caitlin Clark's passing was absolutely insane today. If they could make layups, I think she might have actually flirted with her single season record of 19 assists. But they had a lot of trouble finishing today, and yet their shooting percentage was amazing. That's what's so bizarre. It's like I'm looking at some of this stuff that I'm like, oh, that's not good. Oh, they got to clean that up. And then it's like, well, yeah, but they also beat the Sky 93-58. Do I have that right? Yeah, I mean that's correct, right? 93-58, 48-26 in the second half, right? Like that second half showed a lot more to me. That's why I said tale of two halves of what the Indiana Fever could do. Before I get into that a little more, if we look at this, and like I said, the Sky, it was partially they were missing, but it was also the Fever defense already much better than last year. The Sky 23 of 79, under 30% from the field, 6 of 27 from three, 22.2%. Only shot 12 free throws, right? AngeL Reese, yeah, she got her 17 boards. She's going to get her boards. That's the way it is. But she was only 5 of 14. She had one assist, no steals, no blocks, and turned the ball over 5 times. And yes, we will get to that play in a minute. And that was basically it. Ariel Atkins had 11 points, but she was still a minus 20. She was only 3 for 6. Yeah, I mean, the Fever defense was shut down, folks. Shut down defense against Chicago Sky. So here's the thing. When you listen to the stuff that I criticize, one, I get the season's early, so I'm kind of both looking at it at the game, right? Just I'm judging the game, not so much what it's going to be, but also understanding what it's going to be, and that these things I'm talking about are things that should get better for sure. Which brings me to my next point. Despite the things, and if you watch the game, you know what I'm talking about, at least early, right? They just did not look, they weren't they weren't in sync. They didn't have any rhythm. It looked sloppy at times, and yet they blew out. And I don't care what the Chicago team ends up being. It's another professional team. They blew them out 93-58. That does not bode well for the rest of the league if the Fever cleans up the things that we're talking about, and there's no reason to believe that they won't. And yes, okay, we're going to get to two incredible milestones now. Luana Bonner, it took a while and it took some effort from the team for sure, because she was not Dewana Bonner today, and to me it was odd. I said this to someone. She didn't play poorly, right? Like I don't think Dewana Bonner played bad today. I just didn't think she wasn't good either. She was just sort of, there. One of those games where as a player you would kind of say you felt flat. Just for some reason, no matter what you did, you just never really felt into the game. But late, late, late in that game, they finally got her into third place all time, the third all time leading scorer in the WNBA. Really, really happy for her that she was able to do it now instead of say the end of last season. Now where she gets to the Indiana Fever and she gets to do it in a home game, and she got herself a standing ovation from a sold out crowd of a gazillion people. Uh, and of course, the other big, big, big one is Caitlin Clark got another triple double, and it is so wild because for 2/3 of this game, it was just like Caitlin just he can't get in rhythm. It doesn't look like they're running plays for her much. The team wasn't running as much as I expected them to, or um, players weren't getting out in front as often when Caitlin Clark was getting the ball. And so it looked at times that when she was getting half opportunities, she was pressing a little bit. You know that where you're trying to get yourself going and you're trying to make a little too much happen. I think, and then it just happened. And despite all of that, she gets her third triple double of her career, which is absolutely wild. She went back in, unlike Christy Sides. Steph White put her back in, and I get if she had gotten hurt, people would have been going crazy. But two reasons really. Caitlin Clark wanted to make sure Dewana Bonner got to third all time, wanted to make sure she got those two final points to move into third, and she was one rebound short from yes, a triple double, 20 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. Shot 6 of 13 from the field, 4 of 8 from three, perfect from the line, 4 of 4. Oh, by the way, 2 steals, and oh, by the way, 4 block shots, which lead the team because Aliyah Boston at 5. And by the way, props to Aliyah Boston. I think she started out slow. She fumbled a pass to Caitlin Clark, but then because of that, you get kind of like, oh, and so she missed the layup, got the rebound, missed the follow. So she was rough, even though she was 8 for 12. Right, that's what I mean. She got going because those misses were easy buckets that she missed, and she did it early and then got going. And she was phenomenal. 19 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 blocks. And I have to shout out those blocks because that's Aliyah Boston with a whole lot of great timing and reading the game, reading the opponent with her high basketball IQ because she is not a player with a great vertical. That she just, I don't say that to be mean. That's just, if I'm assessing her as a player, that's not a strength of hers. And yet still 5 block shots. Absolutely phenomenal today. I mean, I tell you, at halftime, I was ready to be like, oh, this is kind of I don't know, a C, maybe a B minus game. And I was going to give them all grades. And now I'm like, well, what the hell? What the hell happened? That's like, we've got two different teams going on out here. But they shot lights out. I shouldn't say they shot lights out. It felt like they did. Maybe it was just the starters. Well, Dewana Bonner, that's what I mean. Dewana Bonner held him back, 2 of 9. But listen to these other 4 starters in the distribution. Natasha Howard, 6 of 12. Aliyah Boston, 8 of 12. Kelsey Mitchell, 6 of 12. Caitlin Clark, 6 of 13. And from three, 0 for 2, 0 for 1. Then Boston, 1 of 1. She hit a three. If that becomes something that she can do, 30 to 33% of the time, make those, that's going to stretch a defense the way Demiris Dantes stretches a defense. Kelsey Mitchell, 2 of 4 from three, and Caitlin Clark, 4 of 8. And I love Kelsey Mitchell today, folks. Again, so there's some stuff she's got to clean up, what they all do, and that's just part of the game. But I loved her energy today. I loved her defensive energy today as well. I loved her hustle today. She just looked like someone that was like, she understood that past year and what it was. She kind of had the offseason to fully grasp that. And it's like, damn, that was fantastic. I want to do that again. I want to go ball out because you know what? We legit have a shot at a championship. It was great to see Damaris Dantas get off the bench and get 11 minutes because, again, right, she hasn't been practicing or anything. She's got to get herself back into shape a little bit now that she's had that break from playing overseas. But in that 11 minutes, she was part of a plus nine. She was 1 for 3. So it was good to see her there. Michaela Timpson got in for 3 minutes, got her first experience, got her first points, bucket and a couple free throws. And the bucket was tough under the basket, but it was tough. And Lexi freaking Hull, are you kidding me today? 4 of 10. She wasn't on from three, 0 for 3, 0 for 4. But again, 10 shots, and 6 of them were not threes. I love that she showed a lot of variety. She wasn't just looking for the three. She was driving. She was attempting middies. She was getting to the basket. She had, of course, Lexi Hull energy when she came in the second quarter, I believe. She kind of changed things around a bit because, again, the team seemed out of rhythm. They seemed a little flat. And Lexi Hull's like, no, we're not having this. 9 rebounds, folks. Lexi Hull had 9 rebounds. Do you understand? Boston had 13. And then the guards, Caitlin Clark, Lexi Hull, I know she kind of plays that stretch three, but she's a guard, right? She's 6'1". 10 rebounds, Lexi Hull, 9 rebounds, had a couple of steals as well, plus 23. Team was 35 for 75, 46.7%. And, they shot 21 threes. Not great from there, 7 of 21, but we're going to blame that a little bit on Lexi Hull since she was 0 for 4. Hopefully, I can show this to you. I'm going to give it a try, but we had a flagrant foul on Caitlin Clark against AngeL Reese. I'm going to play it, and when we're going to talk about it, I'm sure you can imagine I have some things to say. So that was, and AngeL gets up and she's stalking Caitlin Clark like an absolute lunatic because she is an absolute lunatic. And we'll get into that in the moment. But let me see if I can go back a little bit because I want to point out something else that I really liked about this, if I have it right. So we've got the foul. AngeL Reese gets up, and yep, no, 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 you are not doing that. And guess who that is? Aliyah freaking Boston. That is right. First one to AngeL Reese. It said, no, no, you're not going toward Caitlin Clark. By the way, AngeL Reese, a lot of people were talking about was like, well, wait, what about the shove in the back to Natasha Howard before that is never called? Um, which is absolutely true. But I want to really shout out Aliyah Boston before I dig into this about that play because I love, and this is what I'm talking about, guys. And she got a technical for that, and I have zero issues with that. She should do what she did, and this is what I'm talking about. When a lot of people are like, "Well, you can't be having them do anything because." Hold on, I gotta close. I gotta close the window. Holy helicopter! I mean, seriously, I probably see like 4 helicopters a year, and it's gonna do it. Fly right over here while I'm doing a video. But anyway, yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. Okay. This is a great example because a lot of people, when I bring this up, they're like, oh, well, that's dumb. You're just going to get the other players thrown out. And no, here you go, right here. This is a great example by Aliyah Boston because who knows where it goes if she doesn't do that when she does that. Because this is AngeL Reese, folks. He is insanely jealous of Caitlin Clark. She has a very low emotional IQ. She doesn't, and I don't mean that. I know people say, "Oh, when you use IQ, you're being mean." No, what I mean is she struggles to control her emotions and then her impulse from those emotions, right? Because here's the thing, and as much as I praised Rebecca Lobo just the other day, no, Rebecca, that is BS. Ryan, that is BS. Y'all don't know basketball. Y'all shilling for ESPN who wants to create controversy and rivalry with this because in no world is that a flagrant foul. That is 100% a I'm going to make sure you don't get the easy bucket and you earn it from the foul line. That is all that this is. This has been going on for the history of basketball. And it used to be that no one blinked twice at a foul like this because they all knew what it was. Look, she smacked her on her arms. AngeL Reese did a huge flop there. There's Aliyah Boston like, yeah, you ain't doing that. Smacked her on her arms hard to make sure there was no bucket, make sure that she earns it from the free throw line. In no world should that be a technical foul. Absolutely absurd. And yes, that is a hill that I will die on. But we all know what would have happened if they didn't call it, right? We all know we would have had to hear how unfair it is. We would have had to hear about Caitlin Clark's privilege and all this other nonsense. Now, we all know Caitlin Clark was getting blasted, damn near tackled, getting I was gonna anyway. I don't want she was a pain with words, but getting knocked in the head. Let me put it that way. Play after play after play, where you weren't even getting regular fouls called. And if correct me if I'm wrong, but all these goofballs, all these doorknobs are saying, well, you got to get bigger, and the WNBA is a physical league. That's that physical play. So really, this is not like this is the most basic of standard plays when you don't want to give up a gimme basket. You hit hard across the arms like that to make sure there's no possible way that they can get a shot off. This was a basic, boring, run of the mill take foul, make them shoot free throws. That's all it is. She wanted Angel to earn those points from the free throw line instead of 2 feet from the rim. And I know what you're all thinking. Well, it's AngeL Reese. Just let her shoot the layup and then box her out. But anyone who says this is anything but that basic of a foul is completely overreacting, or they've never seen basketball before, or they have an agenda. And Angel to get up like that, because she knows the media is going to protect her, is absolutely absurd. It's immature, it's childish, and she should know better. And there's no excuse for it. Rebecca, Ryan, I'm calling you out too. This is more manufactured nonsense because you want to create a rivalry, 93-58, that doesn't exist. It only exists for the old guard WNBA, their sports media sycophants, and the AngeL Reese fans. There's no rivalry for anyone else. Reese and Clark aren't in the same universe in terms of their basketball talent. Basic foul on the arms. It's below the waist while her arms are still down there. No way is this a flagrant foul. And AngeL Reese is getting up like she wants to throw hands. Seriously? By the way, you're too uncoordinated to throw hands, so think twice next time. And by the way, didn't aren't you the one that jumped up and cheered enthusiastically with on the Kennedy Carter hit? Aren't you the one that almost took off Caitlin Clark's head with a foul last year? I'm just wondering, was that AngeL Reese or not? Absolutely insane. Let me tell you something, Sophie Cunningham. Oh my goodness. She would have loved to be in this game. I'm not doing as many clips. I might, do videos maybe the next day as well, but it is such a pain. Like the last one I did took forever to get it, so it wasn't getting blocked. And then even when it did get up, like 4 hours after it was live, they're like, "No, no, we're copyright and claiming this. You can't get anything from this video." So it's a real nightmare. But I'm gonna so you might not see these, but there's not much to dissect. This is just fun after what happened that we're going to show Caitlin Clark's AngeL Reese throws up junk, misses, gets it back, throws up junk, misses, and then Caitlin Clark steals it from her, which is fun to watch. Um, and then I think we have one or two more. Do we have another one? Oh yeah, no, that's just that same play because yeah, that's the other thing I didn't mention. AngeL Reese absolutely flopped, and then this is nonsense. And again, there I love that Aliyah Boston jumped in on there on that and was like, yeah, no, they didn't. There's not much to see there, but yeah. So overall, again, clearly the defense looks so much better than last year already. Like I said, they had some situations where there were some communication issues, which by the way, you could even see on that foul that Caitlin had because it was kind of like you could see her reaction and someone else was like, well, wait, who has who at this point? And AngeL Reese was kind of left wide open. So that'll get cleaned up from a defense that already looks pretty good. And they got better as the game went along too. But again, big thing, way too many missed layups, way too many missed shots within 5 feet. Caitlin, now look, I know going from 10 to 19, maybe she wasn't going to threaten her assist record, but I'm thinking 16 maybe that she should have had 15 or 16 assists, even if you allow for a couple of those misses. I think the pick and roll worked really well. And here's the criticism I will say to that, which is again crazy to think about how high it can be. Aliyah Boston still doesn't set a screen all that well, and yet the pick and roll can still look absolutely phenomenal on this team. You got DeWanna Bonner gets involved in that as well. That's going to get better and better. Um, the set offense, like I said, the set offense didn't seem to generate a whole lot of rhythm. It had its moments, but again, I think as the season goes along, you're going to get more and more of those moments. So overall, you say, well, come on, how am I going to complain about a 93-58 win, right? So, I mean, so I'm not complaining. I'm just giving you little things that I think, oh, this wasn't good today. But there was nothing today that I saw that was like, this is going to be a problem. This is going to be a problem. Other than that, I was a little worried about the lack of rhythm with the offense with getting Caitlin Clark involved. But I think again, you're always going to have Caitlin Clark get to a point at some point where she's going to be like, yeah, you know what? I'm taking over this game. Let's go. So that would be like the only thing that I worry about long term. The rest of the stuff, I'm like, they're going to clean that up. Defensive communication and rotation's going to get better. Understanding on things like the pick and roll is going to get better. The layup should get better. Okay. I mean, we're talking about players who, Dewana Bonner, Natasha Howard, those aren't players that really miss layups. I don't think Michaela Timpson's going to be a player that really misses layups. Damiris Dantas isn't. Lexi Hall was good today, and I think she had a phenomenal finish on I think on one of Caitlin Clark's passes, if I'm not mistaken. It was absolutely amazing. But I'm gonna leave it there. Sorry that there wasn't a whole lot of moving screen. I'm probably throwing up some I'll just throw up some maybe a Caitlin Clark video or something or but anyway, I want to get this done as quickly as possible, giving me my thoughts on the game and all that. But let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. One game down, smoked some serious behind off the Chicago Sky. They should be slinking out of town. Shout out to Juana Bonner for moving into third. Shout out to Caitlin Clark for the triple double. I could go on to all of them. They all had great moments. Aliyah Boston was a monster. Lexi Hull changed the game. Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. Appreciate you so much. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. You know the drill. I'm going to leave it there. Go have a day you deserve. I will talk to you later.